Right, good afternoon to you and welcome to the program. It's Good Afternoon Ghana, and it is another energy sapping weekend. It's going to be in the Ashanti region as all roads lead to KUMAWU. So political parties are actively involved in whatever is going to happen there as they all partake in the election or the by-election that's going to happen on Tuesday. Yesterday, the Progressive People's Party sent a notification that it was throwing its weight behind the independent candidate that has declared his candidature in the area. Now, more is coming up where the MPP is grounded, seriously conducting campaigns, and so is the NDC. So we'll be analyzing the issue, what exactly is going on in KUMAWU. We'll bring you the details, but just so you know why we're having a by-election in KUMAWU just about a few months ago, we lost a member of parliament for that area. And so it gave rise to the need for the people to be provided with an MP immediately. And so this afternoon we'll be doing this with Malik Basintale, who is Deputy National Communications Officer for the NDC. Palgrave Boache Dankwa will also join us here in the studio, and he is government spokesperson for governance and security. We also have Jonathan Asante-Ochre, who is a political analyst and a lecturer at the UCC, that's University of Cape Coast. We're doing that pretty shortly. My name is Ania Frompo. It's time for us to take a breather. Let's go and come back and start the analysis. All right, you're welcome back. So I earlier on told you that we're going for a by-election in KUMAWU, and that was following the MP who died some few months ago. So it says that the New Patriotic Party, that was the story that was carved around the demise of the man in question. The New Patriotic Party Member of Parliament for KUMAWU constituency in the Ashanti region, Mr. Philip Baswa, has died at age 54. Now, Mr. Baswa died on Monday, the March 27th, 2023, at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where he's been on admission for a serious ailment, and that was not mentioned. But his death was confirmed by the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, in a tweet on Tuesday, and we saw that. That tweet was there. You can go and check it. It's there. Philip was born on November 18, 1969, and he hails from the KUMAWU in the Ashanti region. And education, he had a master's degree from the Paris Graduate School of Management in 2012, and also had a Bachelor of Arts at the University of Cape Coast in Ghana 2000. He also had his GCA level in 1994 and his GCE O level in 1991 and his MLCSC in 1986. His career is that he was project coordinator for the Ghana Education Service in the Ashanti region, and he was also district chief executive at the Ministry of Local Government for the Setre East District from June 2005 to January 2009. He was a tutor at the Agogo Senior High School. That's a place I resonate with a lot because my dad was transferred there some years ago. Agogo. Political career, he's a member of the New Patriotic Party and an MP for the KUMAWU constituency in the Ashanti region. And in 2016, the Ghana general election, he won the parliamentary seat with 21,794 votes, making 78.2% of the total votes cast. While the NDC parliamentary aspirant William Amwako garnered 5,899 votes, making 21.2% of the total votes cast, while the CPP parliamentary aspirant Opokuche Clifford had 188 votes, making 0.7% of the total votes cast. In the 2020 general elections, he won the parliamentary seat with 14,000. So remember that it came down 14,960 votes, making 51.8% 1% of the total votes cast, while the NDC parliamentary aspirant Bernard Opoku-Mafo had 39 votes, making 8.3%. A total votes cast, while the independent parliamentary aspirant Dia Kweku had 11,698 votes, making 40% of the total votes cast. Votes cast, and GUM parliamentary aspirant Nana Mwako also had 174 votes, making 0.6% of the total votes cast. So take note that independent candidates in this area make a lot of strides. And is that going to repeat itself in this by-election? We'll get the details. But for now, let's now focus on the independent candidate that's standing for the area. We have a bit of information from him. Let's take a bite.
To ask who voted and who are from this constituency, everybody knew that I won that election. And for that reason, I was bent on going to court to seek redress. Well, some movements went on and they came and apologized through the Omanyene. He's my grandfather. So when he called me, I obliged. So when they approached me that, hey, we want to know what you're going to do, they knew I was the right person to go. That's why they approached me in the first place. They should have asked me to go uncontested. And I told them that. I said, listen, if I contest with anybody, I will lose. Why? Because I don't have anybody to vote for me. Because they disqualified all my guys. So we leave it to the people to decide whom they trust, whom they can trust, whom they think can deliver for them. And I'm doing it with my own money, with my own resources. So do you think if the government gives me something for developmental project within the constituency or the community, I'm going to blow it? No, I'll use it for that purpose. And let me tell you, I'm ready and willing to work with all the stakeholders.
Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, Mr. Wontumi, has also spoken. Let's take a listen.
MPP ni, but why to say Judas Iscariot? Say could be any the Judas Iscariot. What are why Quatia? Why you KUMAWU what you say? It is a year. Abroad didn't want to buy NDC no. Yabemo be a NDC for no I rely on it. NDC for himself 2,800 and something. It is this election, you know. And yet the second NDC for the person mobile. Name mom quite hunu and no I'm maniska. So remember you KUMAWU na and corner because say MPP ni NDC parliament in your bank.
So that's basically the allegation, against Kweku Dia, that he's in bed with the NDC and has, abandoned the people of KUMAWU and has betrayed them, in the words of the chairman of the MPP in the Ashanti region, Chairman Wontumi. But I already have Paragraph Wachidankwa with me in the studio. And also, Mr. Santiago will join us later on, governance expert, political analyst as well, to tell us more. And then also from the NDC, Malik Basintali, who is the Deputy Communications Officer for the party, will also join us in the analysis. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And you're welcome into the studio.
Me. Thank you very much, Annie. And a very good afternoon to your listeners and viewers.
Afternoon. It's actually strange that you're in Accra. Because I can bet you that the strongest machinery of the MPP is in KUMAWU now.
Yes.
So I'm not sure why you're here.
I'm here for a number of reasons. I mean, you're aware of the work that needs to be done and the engagement. I think that in the evening, my bus leaves to KUMAWU. And so,
Oh, your boss will leave to Kumawu
yes,
this evening.
Yes, I'm leaving to KUMAWU
Can I
tonight.
join?
Why not? Please, you are always invited.
Okay.
So yes, KUMAWU is a very interesting community. I was there for the internal by-election, just at the demise of Mr. Basua or the Honorable Basua. Let me use this opportunity to extend our government and party's deepest condolence to Mr. Basua's family, who would be laying his mortal remains tomorrow in KUMAWU, and also to the members of parliament, the majority caucus side as well, who have lost a very honorable
So
gentleman.
hold on, his funeral is coming off tomorrow. Why am I smiling? Wait, his funeral is coming off tomorrow in KUMAWU. Okay, go ahead.
So also to wish the majority side in parliament the very condolence that is deserving, and to wish our very teeming grassroots supporters who have safely arrived in KUMAWU for the final remains of Mr. Basua to be laid to rest, and then also to campaign very honorably to ensure that the MPP remains and retains the seat as Mr. Basua had, and continue the good works where he left off. And so the final bus, I'm sure, will be arriving by early morning tomorrow at the funeral grounds. And so I would be there as well. If maybe Inside Pages is having their conversations, they can make a call to KUMAWU and we'll give some feedback on what's happening on the grounds.
That'll be interesting. So more I will do will be here tomorrow morning for Inside Pages. I'm not sure if he has a plan of an extension, maybe due to the funeral. But why are we mixing a funeral and politics and campaigns?
Well, is the timetable that was set. I mean, you know,
Why?
I don't think anyone is trying to mix a funeral and then campaigning. We've gone through an internal by-election from our political party. We have the young man Ernest, who is the aspiring MP, but also standing on the side of the MPP. It's important that the party shows a lot of commendation and consideration for the funeral. But whilst there, you are aware that whilst you are mourning, there would be an opportunity for you to engage grassroots personalities and also try to solve any teeming issues that might have arisen with the indicator of the independent candidate, who is very, very important in the constituency. I think that our country have had very similar incidents of sitting people in parliament or even at the presidency being called untimely to be with the Lord and to transition. And at various stages where we are respecting the values of the dead people, we're also respecting that life must continue. And it's eminent within the time that you find yourself to put in a word or two, because you do not know of how significant that contribution would be to your quest to ensure that NPP retains the seat in KUMAWU.
Let me just ask directly, is this a political gimmick to fix the funeral around this time?
Not at all. You are aware that funeral matters are very family-oriented. It's not, it's a family's decision.
Yeah, and MPP is his family. I expect that MPP will be in a solemn mood when his funeral activities are ongoing and not in a political active mood.
No, the MPP is always in a very sober, reflective mood. We are mourning the demise of Mr. Basua. It's sad that we have lost him. We have had many teeming young people, senior officials of the party, being in the constituency well ahead of his funeral and even well ahead of the major election upcoming. I'm not too sure that we are wanting to mix. Mr. Basua's family is the MPP, rightly so, but he also has a family, traditionally, who always would make critical decisions as it relates to logistical issues that they need to put in place. And you know that the by-election is in close proximity. And so if you have all these persons coming in, within the time that we find ourselves. There's no need really just pushing the funeral further on and having people coming in and out within a very long space of time. I think that is the exigencies of time, but we are not at all.
Is it really exigencies? Is it what did the funeral time was the funeral time set before the by-election date, or which one came first?
It's difficult for me to know which one came first. I'm aware that at the time when Mr. Basua died, the EC brought the date out in terms of when it's due for us to have a by-election, and you're aware that we have a constitutional mandate as it relates to sitting MPs or in certain officials, and within what time frame a by-election must be held. And it's important that before that by-election is held, you really give credence and respect to the individual who is dead and make sure that he's laid to rest properly, so that you can be sure that when the by-election is held, whoever becomes winner or emerges winner, the people can move on solemnly. And so I think that the family had to look into the conditions that have been set in place from the Electoral Commission and make a decision that would be helpful for the political party and also helpful for the family.
Let me go on to Zoom. Jonathan Asante, political analyst, has joined me via Zoom, or has joined us via Zoom. Jonathan, thank you for your time. Good afternoon. Hello, Jonathan. Okay, let me go. Let me still stay on Zoom. Is Malik on Zoom? Okay, Malik, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Hello? Okay, so we're trying to have a conversation with these two persons via Zoom, Jonathan Asante, a political analyst, and also Malik Basentale, who is the deputy. Kindly unmute, if you may. Malik, if you can hear me, do unmute.
Right.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your time. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Let me first ask you, what has been your preparation as a party so far towards this by-elections? We just played a video by Chairman Wontumi, who claimed that you know your score or your votes you were able to garner in the last elections in KUMAWU, and so you didn't even think that you can win this seat, and therefore eventually sponsoring the independent candidate, Mr. Dia, to win the elections. How do you respond to that? Hello, Malik? Wow, I just lost him, I'm told. I thought it was that clear. But let's see, is Jonathan on? Okay, Bassett is with me though. Bassett is our correspondent in the Ashanti region. Bassett, thank you for your time, and good afternoon to you. Hello, Bassett. If you can unmute, Bassett. Bassett, unmute. Okay, so there are three people we're actually struggling to get to you to. Bassett, can you hear me now? I can hear you. Okay. So we'll see if we can raise Bassett on the phone lines. That's Abdul Bassett. He's the Ashanti regional correspondent. He's there, but obviously the lines seem not to be too clear. Okay, is Jonathan there now? Jonathan, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon. You are also muted. If you can unmute, please.
Okay.
Okay, right, you can hear me now.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, right. Jonathan, so have you been monitoring the, unfolding?
Loud and clear.
Right. Have you been monitoring the unfolding activities in KUMAWU, and what do you make of it? I have seen a few things which probably we can investigate later. There's been a picture that's been circulating. It was published by City Online, and it's a truck, like a construction truck that seemed to be, plying on a road. You can see that a road is being constructed, and it's titled KUMAWU by-election, constituents worried repair works on roads may halt after polls. And so you see that there is some repairs on road going on. There are also some videos of attempts or alleged videos of vote buying and stuff like that. I don't know if you've been monitoring, and what have you observed so far?
Let me say good afternoon to our viewers and good afternoon to you, Annie. It's been a while.
Right.
I felt that by now the special prosecutor, since he was so much interested in the lady that was distributing, money or throwing money away in a vehicle during the NDC primaries, as we are told, has been invited for and has been cited for corruption and ought to be investigated. I think by now the special prosecutor should have done the same, because this video, as you rightly pointed out, has gone viral, and you could see that these people are recording themselves. I think they just want their paymasters to know that whatever they were sent to do, they are doing that. That is the more reason why they videoed. Now, with the issue of this road construction that is going on, I think that by and large, we have been seeing that during by-elections over the years, if you have followed the from the Fourth Republic. But it seems to be continuing, especially when we find ourselves in a period that we are so much and heavily indebted. Now, I asked myself, is it the case that a contract has been let? If it is, when was the procurement done? Was it sent to tender? So you could see that this is much ado about nothing. It is just going to be a 9-day wonder. And I'm very much happy and glad that the electorate are becoming wiser by the day, because they are asking skeptical, they are being skeptical and asking skeptical questions. Would this particular project continue when the by-election is over? And your guess is as good as mine. It is not. It is not going to be, because there is nothing like, don't forget that there is no physical space for things of that nature that are not budgeted for. Besides, it will fly in the face of IMF program and the agreement and the kinds of things that we have had with IMF. So if you look at it from a larger picture, you will have to understand as an electorate that this is just a 9-day wonder, and it is because of a by-election. That is why government is attempting to do that. I don't know if somebody is doing that for free on behalf of government. That would have been all well and good.
Is it not? Have we not gotten to? Have we not gotten to a point where?
We are absorbing things of that nature.
I'm asking if have we not gotten to a point where the voter has no bargaining chip until it's time for elections. So if it's time for elections and you have to construct my road, so be it. I mean, maybe that's where we've gotten to as a country.
Well, I mean, it goes back to the very features of our Constitution. How empowered is the one who has the power to hold in check the one who power has been given to. And it appears that it is only when things of that nature, begin to approach, that is when we realize that the electorate is much more powerful than the one who has been given the power or the mandate to rule. And quite unfortunately, there is something else that happens in our political space, social space. When you have a group of people criticizing a government in power that certain things ought to be done, then you have a group of people or persons in the same area going to defend the government why this road has not been constructed over the years. I mean, when you think about it, it is stupidity personified. You just cannot understand that politics that ought to bring development, so that if the road is done, dust will not be entering our rooms and will not be coughing by-heartedly. You will have a group of persons who find themselves within that party that is in government defending the reason why the road has not been constructed, as if the dust does not go into his or her room. That is the kind of petty politics that we've been doing. And it's just quite unfortunate, because if we'll have to wait, this road can be constructed and we are waiting till a by-election, I think that the electorate will have to show the politician where power lies. That is the only way, the only means that politicians will begin to listen to the electorate as the most powerful, not the other way around. Unfortunately, when you go outside this part, of the universe, you find it opposite, opposite what we do in our part of the world. It is just quite unfortunate, because if the voting, that is the more reason why the delegates have become so much of a monster, and they want to fleece the politician till they are done. And it is happening glaringly, because if not the case, why will someone knowing very well that voter influence amounts to some kind of corruption, and for which reason it is prosecutable, and you be doing that in a period of social media, you are videoing it so that your paymasters will know that the work that you're asked to do, you're doing it. Because these are just lightweight in the party, going about doing this foot soldier kind of business. And you are doing it glaringly in the full glares of cameras. And it's just quite unfortunate. Some of us don't know exactly where this country is headed. And if we are not careful, I think that very soon the politics, our democracy will only be for the highest bidder. And when that happens, we will get fools ruling us.
Let me ask you about the whole election division itself, where we have the MPP, we have the NDC, but particularly in KUMAWU, you have a third force that's an independent candidate. What's the indication there?
Well, I've listened to the independent candidate. Of course, there is that complacency on the part of the MPP, because that is one of their strongholds in terms of region. Ashanti region is a stronghold of the MPP. I think, Annie, we will have to interrogate this stronghold principle and concept. I think sometimes, if you ask me, it appears like an insult. If you brand this place as my stronghold, now what that means is that even if the party is doing well or is not doing well, or has created discomfiture for all of us, because they are referred to as one of their strongholds, you just don't reason. And that lack of reasoning, you go ahead in the euphoria, you are caught in the euphoria of voting for the same party just because you have been branded as a stronghold. And you go back and you are hungry. I think we need to have a rethink of some of these things. Electorate, and I'm very much happy that KUMAWU electorate are asking these questions. And the questions are born out of skepticism, as I said.
Yeah, but obviously the KUMAWU electorate,
I think,
obviously the KUMAWU electorate has risen above the stronghold language.
that is the point. That is the point. So I'm you see, and I'm very much happy they have asked such a question. So they will have a rethink, because obviously, whatever be the case, that road project will get truncated, because there is no contact anywhere, and there is no physical space. Besides, if you listen to other commentators in terms of economics and finance, they're telling us that the IMF program will create a physical space for the succeeding government. So you could see that this is just a 9-day wonder. But let me come back to the question that you asked. You see, as I said, the MPP is becoming too complacent, and they think that getting to the latter part, they'll be able to buy the electorate with some of these largesse and goodies and just distributing them glaringly and then videoing some of these things. The independent candidate is a smooth talker. And when I listened to him, I now know why the electorate like him. And the MPP will have to be very careful. Now, I don't know the strength of the NDC candidate yet, but now it is an indigenous person. So if it happens that they are going to split vote, I don't see how the NDC candidate will have enough, vote to be able to, as it were, turn over or flip over the coin. But if you look at the state of the economy and the questions that the KUMAWU electorate are asking themselves and demanding answers, I think that I am foreseeing a situation where the NDC candidate votes, if they are able to ensure that they do their campaign well and then the grounds work well, I think they will have to see an increment in the number. Now, when they see that increment in the number, that for me will tell a lot of things to happen come 2024, because that is a stronghold of the NPP. And I think that there is no way, even if the independent candidate should lose, it's going to contest the 2024 elections. And it is either NDC will strategize with that particular person. It will be difficult for them to, because the point is that the electorate, if they are classified as stronghold, what that means is that if it is an NDC, whether they liked you or not, and it means that they will not vote for you once you have shifted camp. But all the same, if he is someone that his principles are keen to what the people believe and aspire to, it doesn't matter if he crosses over to the NDC. Once the electorate are angry, there will be that voter apathy, and he will be able to pull his own vote as an individual, as an independent candidate, and that of the NDC as well. But by and large, we are supposed to expect an increment in the number of the NDC vote. If you look at if there is any that voter apathy, the economy, and all these things, are to be put to test.
Right. Jonathan Asante and Ocho, thank you for your time. We'll leave it here and monitor what's going on there. But Bassett is in KUMAWU and comes through with a report. Probably I'll get back to you. But Bassett, if you can hear me again, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Annie.
Thank you for your time. So tell us what exactly we should be expecting. What's going on now? Today is Friday. What do we know is going on in KUMAWU?
Yeah, exactly as you rightly stated, the election is going to be held on Tuesday. Today is Friday, and God willing, tomorrow Saturday, the late MP will be laid to rest. But as I speak with you right now, there are a lot of political activities on the street of KUMAWU. Right now, I'm located at Dadiase, right from Oyoko coming to Dadiase up to KUMAWU Township. There are a whole lot of political activities, people wearing T-shirts of various candidates, and others were wearing Kwesi Amankwa's T-shirt, and others were also wearing the independent candidates' T-shirt. Right now, I just saw a convoy of NDC moving towards the KUMAWU Township. I understand the former president, John Dramani Mahama, is coming here this afternoon as well to interact with the party members. Right. So there is a heat political activities over here at KUMAWU as I speak with you right now.
Can you describe how the energy of the three strong camps is looking like? Independent, NDC, and MPP. How does it look like?
Well, KUMAWU constituency has always been the safe seat for the MPP, right from 1992 when the NDC's candidate, Juan Ibrahim, won the seat because the MPP boycotted the election. Right from that place, that time up to now, the MPP have occupied the seat up till now. So the KUMAWU seat has been described as a safe seat for MPP. However, in the last election, the 2020 election, the late Philip Basua had a stiff competition when one Kwekudria, who ran as an independent candidate. The Kwekudria was part of the New Patriotic Party. He broke out from the New Patriotic Party and contested the city member of parliament. And he had 11,000 votes as compared to the MP's votes of around 14,000.
Right.
So
not to cut you, but let me ask
process.
you why the chairman was making allegations against Kwekudia that he's being sponsored by the NDC when the NDC had its own candidates.
Well, I understand even this same allegation. The former president, when he came here the last time, refutes this allegation that they have their candidate and they are not sponsoring any candidate here at KUMAWU, because they were surprised how he energized and how he's been able to campaign on his own to be able to gain 14,000 votes, 11,000 votes. That is why they have the perception that he's being sponsored by someone. And moreover, he is not the only independent candidate. As I speak to you now, 4 persons are contesting the seat. Aside the MPPs and NIM, the NDC is also presenting Kwesi Amankwa,
Right.
while there are 2 independent candidates. The Kwekudria, who contested the late MP last time, another Dria Kweku is also contesting. So we have 2 independent candidates. These 2 candidates were believed to have come from the New Patriotic Party. Others are even saying that the second Kwekudia was being sponsored by MPP in order for him to be able to match the votes of the other independent candidates so that their candidate and SNM will have his way. So the competition will be a very tough competition as I speak with you now. Even though it's a safe seat for the New Patriotic Party,
Right.
you cannot say for sure that the MPP can easily override the other candidates.
Abdul Basit, follow through and get back to us with some more development. Thank you for your time this afternoon. Paragraph, it's actually very interesting with a picture in KUMAWU, 12 candidates, 2 independents, and the independents happen to have almost the same names.
Well,
And you are alleged to be sponsoring the second Kwekudia that's come up.
Akans have very similar names. Kwekudia is a very unique,
like a compound name.
Yeah, simple name all around. So it's just like every frimpon is a manso, every yao is a prekon, and all of that. So I'm sure that's where it comes from. But I mean, really, it tells you the strength of the delegates. I mean, I've enjoyed listening to the conversations from your correspondents. I am not too sure that the road construction will cease even after the election. I think that our government has been very committed to projects that begins and ends. And we are aware that government is continuing. So that is some good light for the people of
Because of elections.
Well, I'm not too sure. I would want to find out, really, whether this was already timetabled.
That it should be happening around this time?
Well, no. I mean, whether it is timetabled, that's what I'm saying. I'm not too sure whether this was already timetabled. Could have been that this was already timetabled to be done in May. I mean, could have been, but we'll need to find out.
Right. Hold on.
That regard.
Okay, let me just give some space to the NDC as well. Malik Basintale is back via Zoom, right? Or phone? Okay. Malik, can you hear me now? Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Great,
I
thank
can hear you.
Thank you for your time. We're fast spent, but let me just go straight to the point. So you, NDC, you're sponsoring, we have 2 independent candidates in KUMAWU. 2 of them have similar names, but the traditional one we know is the first one who almost won but didn't win. He's also Kwekudia. You are noted or alleged to be sponsoring him. Why? You are muted again. You are muted again, so I'm just losing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Right. So this came to us as a surprise. In fact, during the campaign tour of our flag bearer, President Mahama, he made emphasis to the fact that we had our candidate who was Kwesi Amankwa, and there was no need sponsoring any other candidate. I mean, it was a decision that was taken to file or fill the candidate in this election. We could have also taken a decision not to contest and to rally our support behind the independent candidate. In fact, other political parties like the PPP, as of yesterday, had thrown their support behind Kwekudua. And so the NDC could have simply done that if we did not want to participate in this election. However, we have also conducted our independent research on the grounds. And I mean, the feedback we are getting means that we stand a chance of going through the election. I mean, if you look at the margins from 96, like was said, I mean, till date, you would realize that there's been an up and down relative to the percentages. We realized that, I mean, there was nothing, just like the analyst said, we are gradually moving towards a point where we don't have a stronghold for this political party or a stronghold for that political party, because the people, Ghanaian people, are becoming, I mean, very discerning and will be able to draw their analysis from what they see, what they hear, and what has been done relative to what you are telling them on the spot. And so, if you looked at the results in 2020, you realize that there was some 11,000 people who repeatedly voted for the NPP that decided not to vote for the NPP. Indeed, decided not to vote for the NDC too, but decided to go for an independent candidate. What it tells you and I is that those 11,000 people have decided not to vote for the continuation of the ruling government. And those 11,000 people had decided to take a different stance. Perhaps the NDC at the parliamentary level may not have demonstrated enough to win the trust of that 11,000, group of people. And so instead of coming to vote for the NDC, they decided to take a neutral stance and they decided to go for the independent candidate. What it tells us again is that, should we teach them, should we demonstrate to them that we are a better alternative with regards to matters of the constituency, we could easily win the support of that 11,000, because I don't see a way where 11,000 people will reject the continuation of a government, and then in that same administration, in the second term of that same administration, those 11,000 people will decide to go for the government of the day other than choosing another alternative. And so we are positive with regards to that. The second has to do with reasons why we feel that we stand a better chance in this election. If you look at both the track records of both political parties, I believe that we have demonstrated enough that we continue to have the people of KUMAWU at heart. If you, in the past, if you go project by project, until now, where as a result of the by-election, the government has decided to fast-track the construction of their roads. In the past, the people had demonstrated. I remember somewhere in 2019, when the roads of KUMAWU were blocked, and they demonstrated, they were in red, they bent a lot of ties to register their displeasure on the fact that the government had abandoned them. And their member of parliament, Mr. Atta, had repeatedly on the floor of parliament pleaded with the government to ensure that their roads are constructed. And so it's only sad that, just when that same man who had been pleading with his own government to construct his roads have died, a day to his funeral, you realize that the government has decided to construct the roads.
Pargrave is saying,
get a smooth ride.
Pargrave is saying that it's possible that Pargrave is saying that it's possible it was timetabled.
For more than 4 years, 6 years in your government, not even a single brick was taken to KUMAWU. 6 years in your government, not a single stone was taken to KUMAWU. And just a week to the funeral of the MP, the former MP, and just a week to the by-election, you decided to carry gravel, stones, quota, and what have you, just to construct the road. It appears surprising, and that is why, even the analysts, drew attention to the fact that the people were complaining and people were laughing. In fact, during the era of the NDC, we constructed the KUMAWU Nsuta Road, we did the KUMAWU Drobonsu Road, we did the KUMAWU Efijase to Kumasi Road. It was constructed, and there's this poplar achievement of the NDC that has been left to rot. If you remember, I mean, repeatedly in the news, we've had the KUMAWU 120-bed district hospital where the people had been pleading on the government to complete it for them. 120, it was a $38 million Euroject project that was brought there. It commenced in 2015 and was expected to end somewhere in 2017. The government abandoned it. Until date, that project has been left to rot. The people had repeatedly been pleading and pleading on the government, and the government refused to give attention to it. And so, if you look at the track record, the history behind KUMAWU, and mind you, KUMAWU is virtually a settler community. KUMAWU has about 25 communities with about 72, branches or so. Out of the 25, about 15 of them are settler communities. And so one would term those communities as zongos. And if these people had been pleading on you, had been pleading on your government to at least complete a 120-bed hospital facility that was commenced by your predecessor, and you decided to neglect it, only for you to finally start giving the constituency attention 1 week to the funeral of the former MP, then it appears bizarre. And I think that, as politicians, we need not serve, the people of this country in this manner. Other communities have started lamenting, and there are people who have started saying that if this is the case, probably, excuse me to say, they'll start killing their members of parliament so that they could always have by-elections there and the government would come to their aid. And it appears unfortunate. I think that we must let some of these things, and we can't continue people of the Republic in this manner. We are confident that we will go through. Surprisingly, let me draw this last point, is on the actions of the Electoral Commission for allowing an independent candidate to use a symbol that looks exactly or looks similar to that of another candidate in the election appears surprising. And we think that it is an orchestration, between the MPP and the Electoral Commission. Because if you look at our Political Parties Act, clearly Section 10 of our Political Parties Act states that you cannot use a symbol that is either the same, bears same name to any other political party or candidate in the election, or the Republic of Ghana, or any instrument of the Republic of Ghana. And you cannot also use a symbol that will look similar to that of any other political party, or that of any other national symbol or identity. And so it's surprising that if you look on the ballot paper, one Kwekudua uses a dove, the other Kwekudua uses a pictorial view of a dove. And so we are surprised as to how the Electoral Commission allowed another candidate in an election to use a symbol that looks like that of another candidate. And we find it an orchestration. However, we are confident that we will win the KUMAWU seats. We have demonstrated enough to the people that we are better managers of their constituency than the MPP. And we believe that they will give us the nod.
Malik, we're grateful for your time, and thank you for your submission too from the NDC side. You have the last word on. I think we've touched on almost every part of it where we are now. What will be your final words?
Final words is that we wish that the souls of all the departed, including Honorable Baswa, rest in peace. We also wish and pray that on Tuesday, when the elections are held, the MPP would have the field of the day and be able to find a way of uniting, especially independent persons who are from our political party but have gone ahead to file their independence to contest in the election. So that's in the major election.
But what he mentioned finally, in terms of the similarities,
the symbols have been changed. The symbols have been changed. Yes, the symbols have been changed. I think that it was a clear error, but the symbols have been changed. And so, come 2024, we are sure that we'll be able to present a very strong case to retain the seat.
Well, so all roads lead to KUMAWU this weekend, and Metro TV is also very much stationed. We'll be bringing you all the updates of what's happening in KUMAWU. The election is coming off on Tuesday next week, so monitor this platform as we come through with all the updates. Fargrave, thank you for coming into the studio. Earlier on, we had discussion with Jonathan Boachi as well, who is a lecturer and a political analyst, and Malik Batintali also for the NDC. My name is Annie Efwampofo. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon, Ghana.